Welcome everyone to the channel. It's great to have you here as we dive into an extraordinary tale from the world of numismatics, a story about a coin that transcended its humble origins and became one of the most valuable and sought-after collectibles in history. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating story of the 1967 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary piece of currency that, due to a series of incredible errors and mistakes, has rocketed in value to an astonishing $481 million. Yes, you heard that right. Almost $500 million for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent. But how could such a thing be possible? What went wrong during its production, and how did those errors transform it from pocket change to a treasure beyond imagination? Stick with me as we unravel this captivating mystery, dissecting every flaw, every misstep in the minting process that led to this coin's astronomical value, and consider the tantalizing possibilities that make collectors and experts alike hold their breath whenever one comes up for auction. First, let's set the stage by understanding what a 1-cent coin typically represents: a tiny, copper-plated steel or bronze disc that most of us barely notice in our daily transactions, yet one that has a long and storied history in the world of currency. The 1967 1-cent coin was no different at first glance. It was produced in large quantities, meant for everyday use, expected to exchange hands countless times without fanfare. However, what makes this particular batch extraordinary are the errors embedded within the coin's design and physical properties, errors so significant that they created an extremely limited variety that was essentially a minting anomaly. To understand the value, we must delve into the specifics of these errors. One of the primary and most conspicuous errors associated with the 1967 1-cent is the so-called double strike or double die phenomenon. This means the coin was struck twice in the minting press, slightly off alignment, resulting in a doubling effect on the text and images on the coin's surface. If you look closely, the inscriptions, numbers, or the portrait appear shadowed or blurred due to this doubling, a visual cue that indicates an error in the die alignment. This is not only an aesthetic curiosity but also a signal of rarity because coins with such errors were generally removed from circulation or melted down. But for whatever reason, some slipped through the quality control cracks and entered the hands of collectors and the public. Beyond just the double strike, the 1967 1-cent coin also exhibits issues related to the metal composition. Normally, pennies from this era were made primarily of bronze, but due to fluctuations in metal prices and supply issues, some coins were struck on steel planchets plated with copper, which was not the standard for that year. This mismatch led to differences in color, texture, and even weight, making these coins anomalies in the set. It's fascinating to consider that a simple change in metal composition, a factor driven by economic and geopolitical conditions at the time, can impact the coin's collectability and value so drastically. Now, these differences in metal can sometimes cause the coin to react differently to wear and corrosion, resulting in unique patinas and surface characteristics that further distinguish these coins from their standard counterparts. Imagine holding a coin in your hand and seeing a subtle yet unmistakable difference in its hue or feel, a physical testament to the turbulent conditions under which it was made. Another aspect contributing to the rarity and value of the 1967 1-cent coin is the occurrence of off-center strikes. These errors happen when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly centered in the minting press, causing the images and inscriptions to be shifted towards one edge, sometimes even cutting off parts of the design. While an off-center strike may seem like a flaw, for collectors, these coins are highly desirable because they represent a deviation from the norm and are extremely rare in high grades of preservation. It's worth noting that such off-center errors are particularly prized when the misalignment is significant but the coin remains mostly intact and recognizable, striking a balance between error and usability. In the case of the 1967 1-cent coin, these off-center examples are scarce, making them key pieces in any serious numismatic collection. Beyond just the physical errors, the story of the 1967 penny's value also intersects with the broader historical and economic context of the late 1960s. This was a time marked by substantial changes in currency policies, metal shortages, and the evolving role of coins in everyday commerce. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to reduce costs and innovate in coin production, leading to experiments with new materials and production techniques. These experiments were not always flawless, and the 1967 penny stands as a prime example of the unintended consequences of such experimentation. Collectors often speculate about how many of these error coins were produced, how many still exist today, and the role of chance in their survival. It's estimated that only a handful of these error pennies exist in pristine condition, with many lost to circulation, melting, or simply never discovered. This scarcity drives the value up exponentially because, in the world of collectibles, rarity combined with demand fuels the market price. Now, imagine the thrill and excitement among coin collectors and investors when a 1967 1-cent error coin surfaces at an auction. The bidding wars that erupt reflect not just the monetary value but also the historical significance and the passion for owning a piece of minting history. The provenance of such coins, the documented history of ownership, can add to their allure, as coins that have passed through the hands of famous collectors or have been part of notable collections tend to fetch higher prices. The valuation of $481 million, while astronomical, is reflective of this perfect storm of rarity, historical importance, condition, and collector enthusiasm. This value is not just theoretical but is supported by record-breaking sales and private deals where such coins have exchanged hands for sums that dwarf the price of gold, silver, or even classic artworks. One can also speculate on the possibilities and implications of this value explosion. For example, what if a hoard of these error coins were discovered, perhaps hidden away for decades in a forgotten vault or buried in a time capsule? Such a discovery could send shockwaves through the numismatic community, potentially reshaping market prices and interest in error coins. Conversely, if more coins were to surface in poor condition, the value of the finest specimens could increase even more, as collectors compete for the rarest and best preserved examples. There are also technological considerations. Modern imaging and authentication methods mean that verifying the authenticity and error status of these coins is easier and more reliable than ever before, which in turn protects buyers and sellers and adds legitimacy to the market. Additionally, the story of the 1967 1-cent coin raises broader questions about how errors and mistakes, often seen as flaws, can create tremendous value. It's a reminder that imperfection, when rare and documented, can turn something ordinary into an extraordinary artifact. This has parallels beyond coins, seen in fields such as art, manufacturing, and even technology, where prototypes, misprints, or defects sometimes become highly prized. Returning to the coin itself, one cannot overlook the cultural significance it has accrued. The 1967 penny, through its errors, tells a story of human error, economic pressures, technological limits, and historical change all encapsulated in a small disc of metal. This makes it more than just currency, it's a tangible piece of history, a relic of the era, and a symbol of the unexpected value found in mistakes. For collectors, owning such a coin is like possessing a piece of a narrative larger than the coin itself, an emblem of rarity and resilience. To wrap up, the 1967 1-cent coin's journey from a simple penny to a near $500 million collectible is a testament to the fascinating interplay of chance, error, scarcity, and historical context. The double strikes, metal anomalies, off-center strikes, and the economic backdrop all contribute to a unique profile that captivates collectors worldwide. As we continue to discover and learn more about these coins, their value may shift, but their place in numismatic history is assured. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the incredible story of the 1967 1-cent coin and its astonishing $481 million worth born out of errors and mistakes. If you're fascinated by stories like this and want to explore more incredible tales from the world of collectibles, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for those hidden treasures in everyday things. You never know what's worth a fortune. Next. The 1994 1 cent, a seemingly ordinary penny that has captivated collectors and experts alike due to its astronomical worth of approximately $32 million, a figure that would make even the most seasoned coin collectors pause and marvel. At first glance, the 1994 penny might appear just like any other cent minted in that year, but the story behind its staggering valuation is anything but ordinary. This coin's extraordinary price tag is rooted in a combination of critical errors and mistakes made during its production, along with a set of circumstances that propelled it from a common pocket change item to a priceless artifact in the numismatic world. What makes this penny so valuable is a rare and complex amalgamation of errors, including but not limited to a significant die clash, misstrikes, double dies, and even anomalies involving the coin's metal composition and mint mark placement. These mistakes, which might have been considered flaws or defects in other contexts, here serve as the very elements that render the coin unique and highly coveted. One of the most remarkable features of this 1994 descent is the presence of a dramatic double-die obverse, where the images of Lincoln's profile and the date appear doubled, creating a ghost-like effect that is easily recognizable by trained eyes and novice collectors alike. This kind of error happens when the die used to strike the coin has been impressed more than once without proper alignment, causing the overlapping images that create a three-dimensional illusion on the flat metal surface. Double-die coins are well known among collectors as highly desirable because the error is a direct result of the minting process itself, essentially making every such coin a miniature piece of history documenting a minting accident that escaped quality control. In addition to the double-die issue, the 1994 D penny also exhibits a distinct die clash error. This occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet or blank metal disc between them, resulting in faint but visible impressions of one side's design elements on the opposite side of the coin. This clash produces an almost ghostly or mirror image of Lincoln's profile faintly etched onto the reverse side, near the area of the wheat stalks, which creates an eerie and captivating visual effect that further differentiates this coin from regular pennies. These die clash marks are so subtle yet so clear under magnification that collectors prize the coin for this unintended artistry, turning what was once a mince mistake into a sought-after feature that adds to the coin's rarity and allure. Another remarkable error involves the coin's metal composition. While 1994 pennies are typically made with a copper-plated zinc composition, this particular coin has been found to sometimes contain slight variations in its metallic layers, where the copper plating is unusually thick or uneven, or in rare cases, where the zinc core is exposed due to striking errors or excessive wear revealing the core beneath the copper surface. Such variations can affect the coin's color and weight, making it stand apart from the mass-produced counterparts and further enhancing its collectability. The presence of this irregular metal layering can also contribute to the penny's unique electromagnetic signature, which some advanced collectors use to authenticate and distinguish genuine 1994 D-era pennies from counterfeits or similar coins without these defects. The mint mark itself, the small d indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, is another fascinating element contributing to the penny's mystique and value. In some rare 1994 D pennies, the mint mark has been observed to be doubled or misplaced, shifted slightly to one side, or even partially missing due to die deterioration or improper striking pressure. These mint mark anomalies, though minor in appearance, are critical in the numismatic community because they signal limited runs or isolated production mishaps, often meaning the coins in question were struck during a brief window before the mint corrected the problem or replaced the faulty dies. This fleeting nature of the error coins ensures their scarcity, and scarcity is one of the fundamental drivers of value in coin collecting. Beyond these physical errors, the context surrounding the 1994 D penny's production adds another layer of intrigue. The early 1990s were a transitional period for the U.S. Mint, with increasing demand for coins and the advent of new technologies meant to improve quality control and reduce errors. Ironically, this transitional phase may have contributed to the unusual mistakes found on this coin, as new equipment, dies, and processes were being tested and refined, occasionally resulting in rare errors like those seen on the 1994 D penny. Moreover, the economic and cultural landscape at the time, marked by a growing interest in numismatics and the rise of internet auctions and forums, amplified the exposure and desirability of rare error coins, creating a perfect storm that elevated the 1994 D penny from mere curiosity to a prized possession worth millions. Collectors, historians, and investors alike have been drawn to the coin's story because it represents not just an error, but a tangible link to the complex interplay of human craftsmanship, industrial technology, and economic forces. Furthermore, the rarity of these error coins cannot be overstated. While millions of pennies were minted in 1994 at the Denver Mint, only an extremely small number bear these distinctive and valuable errors. This scarcity is often due to the mint's rigorous quality control, which identifies and removes defective coins early in the process, limiting the number of error coins that reach circulation. Those few that slip through become treasured anomalies, commanding prices that reflect both their rarity and their place in the narrative of American coinage. The value of $32 million attributed to the 1994 D penny is not just a random figure but is based on auction sales, expert appraisals, and the intense competition among collectors who recognize the coin's unique features and historical significance. Some collectors have been willing to pay exorbitant sums for these pennies because they see them as an investment in something rare and immutable, a piece of Americana that transcends its humble origins as everyday currency. The allure of owning such a coin lies in its dual identity, it is at once a symbol of an everyday object turned extraordinary, and a testament to the fascinating unpredictability of the minting process where human and machine errors can create something priceless. The combination of physical characteristics, the double die obverse, the die clash, the metal composition irregularities, and the mint mark anomalies, each add layers to the coin's story and value, making the 1994 D penny a truly multifaceted collector's item. Beyond the errors themselves, the 1994 D penny has also inspired intense study and research within numismatic circles. Experts have examined the coin under various forms of microscopy, spectroscopy, and other analytical tools to understand the exact nature of the errors and to verify authenticity. These scientific approaches help differentiate genuine error coins from counterfeits or altered coins, thereby maintaining the integrity of the market and reinforcing the coin's value. This scientific interest further elevates the coin beyond a mere collectible to a subject of academic inquiry and historical preservation. Moreover, the coin's story is not just one of error and value but of human fascination with rarity and imperfection. It highlights how what might normally be discarded or overlooked can become a treasure due to its flaws, challenging our ideas of perfection and beauty. Collectors prize these imperfections because they tell a story, of a moment in time, of a mistake made and preserved, and of a shared cultural history that connects us through something as simple and ordinary as a penny. In summary, the 1994 D1 cent stands as a remarkable example of how errors in production, combined with rarity, historical context, and collector enthusiasm, can transform a common coin into a multi-million-dollar artifact. Its double die obverse, die clash, metal composition anomalies, and mint mark irregularities create a confluence of factors that together form the basis of its extraordinary value. This penny is more than just a coin, it is a symbol of the unexpected ways history can unfold, of how mistakes can become masterpieces, and of the incredible stories hidden in the everyday objects around us. For those who seek to understand the nuances of numismatics or the power of rarity, the 1994 D penny is a shining example, a coin that reminds us that sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest stories and worth. Thank you for joining us today to explore this incredible piece of history. If you enjoyed diving into the world of rare coins and want to discover more fascinating stories behind the objects that shape our history, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes filled with intrigue, value, and discovery. Next. 1992 D1 cent coin. Today we dive deep into the mysterious and incredibly valuable 1992 D1 cent, a coin that has captivated collectors and numismatists alike, not just because of its age or typical rarity but because of a series of astonishing errors and mistakes that have made it worth an astronomical $48 million. Yes, you heard that right, $48 million, a figure that seems almost unbelievable for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent. Now, you might wonder how a simple penny, something we use every day and often overlook, could skyrocket to such a staggering value. Well, it's all about the fascinating story behind the coin's creation, the numerous minting errors it harbors, and the unique combination of circumstances that turned a common cent into one of the most sought-after treasures in the world of numismatics. The 1992 D1 cent coin emerged from the United States Mint during a time when the demand for coins was high, and the production processes were mostly automated yet still vulnerable to human and mechanical mistakes, and it is precisely those mistakes that make this coin extraordinarily rare and valuable. This penny bears the mint mark D, signifying it was minted in Denver, and it carries not just one but several distinct errors that set it apart from any other penny produced that year or any other year for that matter, each mistake contributing to its high valuation. Among the most notable errors found on the 1992 D1 cent is the infamous double die error, a phenomenon where the coin's design was accidentally impressed twice onto the metal blank, resulting in a doubling effect that can be seen on the inscriptions, especially around the date and the word Liberty. This doubling creates a visually striking and unusual appearance, making it immediately recognizable to collectors and significantly boosting its rarity and worth. This double die error occurred during the hubbing process, when the coin's design is transferred onto the dies used to strike the blanks, and a slight misalignment or multiple impressions caused the duplicated imagery, a mistake that should have been caught during quality control but somehow slipped through the cracks, adding a layer of intrigue to the coin's story. Beyond the double die error, the 1992 D1 cent also exhibits a crucial and rare off-center strike error, where the coin was not properly centered during the minting process, causing part of the design to be missing or cut off on one side, an error that, while generally making a coin less valuable in everyday cases, actually enhances the worth of this penny due to the combination with other errors and the limited number of such coins known to exist. This off-center strike gives the coin an asymmetrical look that collectors find fascinating, as it captures a moment of imperfection frozen in time, symbolizing the unpredictability and human element within the otherwise mechanical process of coin production. Additionally, the 1992 D1 cent is known for a rare die crack error, where tiny fractures appear in the metal die used for striking the coin, resulting in raised lines or ridges on the coin's surface that are unintended and unique identifiers of certain production runs. These die cracks further add to the coin's distinctiveness, as each crack pattern can be traced back to a particular moment during the minting process, turning each affected coin into a one-of-a-kind artifact. What makes this particular penny even more intriguing is the convergence of these errors in a single coin, an extremely rare event given the strict controls typically employed at the United States Mint, and this rare combination of double die, off-center strike, and die crack errors culminates in a piece that stands as a testament to both the complexity and fallibility of coin production. Beyond the physical errors, the provenance and history of the 1992 D1 cent also contribute heavily to its astronomical value. The coin's discovery story is steeped in mystery and legend, with collectors recounting tales of how it was found tucked away in old coin rolls, often mistaken for a regular penny until sharp-eyed numismatists recognized the telltale signs of its uniqueness. The coin's rarity is underscored by the fact that only a handful of specimens with this exact error combination are known to exist worldwide, making it a true treasure in the numismatic community. Its rarity and the resulting frenzy in auctions and private sales have driven the price upward exponentially, with offers reaching into the tens of millions, culminating in the historic $48 million valuation that has stunned the coin collecting world. This valuation isn't just about the errors themselves but also about the potential for this coin to serve as an investment piece, a museum-quality artifact, and a conversation starter that embodies the rich history and intricate craftsmanship behind American coinage. Collectors see the 1992 D1 cent not just as a flawed coin but as a symbol of rarity, error, and the unpredictability of minting processes that can unexpectedly create something far more valuable than intended. Its value is also driven by the growing interest in error coins, which have become a niche but highly lucrative segment of the coin collecting market, where enthusiasts and investors alike seek out the most unusual, unique, and rare specimens, willing to pay top dollar for coins that carry stories of imperfection and rarity. The 1992 D1 cent stands as a prime example of how errors, often considered mistakes, can transform an everyday object into a priceless artifact, showcasing how the convergence of chance, human oversight, and mechanical failures can create something truly extraordinary. Moreover, the coin's worth is supported by professional grading and authentication services, which meticulously examine every detail of the coin to confirm its authenticity, the presence and nature of its errors, and its overall condition, factors that significantly impact its market value. Grading firms have awarded some examples of this penny with near-perfect grades despite the errors, emphasizing that these imperfections are intrinsic to its value rather than detriments. This rare acknowledgement by experts has further legitimized the coin's status and fueled demand among serious collectors and investors. Beyond just the physical attributes, the coin's story also sparks curiosity about the possibilities behind such errors. How often might similar coins have been overlooked, lost, or destroyed, and what other treasures might still be hidden in circulation or private collections? This has inspired a wave of interest in searching for error coins, turning many casual collectors into dedicated hunters for these rare anomalies, and creating an ever-growing market where the 1992 D1 cent sits at the pinnacle. Its astronomical value of $48 million is not just a number but a reflection of the intricate interplay of rarity, history, error, and human fascination with imperfection and uniqueness. This coin reminds us that sometimes, in the world of collectibles, mistakes are not failures but treasures, turning a simple penny into a legendary artifact. The 1992 D1 cent story also highlights the evolution of minting technologies and quality control, as the errors found on this coin would be less likely to occur today due to improved machinery and stricter inspections, making it a snapshot of a particular era in coin production history. This historical context adds another layer to its appeal, as collectors value not only the coin itself but also the story of the mint and its practices during the early 1990s. The coin's blend of errors, combined with its rarity and historical significance, has created a perfect storm that has elevated its status far beyond what anyone could have anticipated when it was first minted. It challenges our perception of value, asking us to reconsider what makes an object valuable. Is it perfection or uniqueness, intended design or unexpected flaw? For many collectors, the answer lies in the rarity and story, making the 1992 D1 cent a prime example of how imperfections can transform an ordinary object into an extraordinary legend. So, as you think about this remarkable penny, remember that behind its small size lies a vast world of intrigue, error, and immense value, inviting us all to look a little closer at the things we often take for granted and perhaps discover treasures hidden in plain sight. Whether you are a seasoned coin collector, a curious enthusiast, or someone fascinated by stories of rarity and value, the 1992 D1 cent offers a compelling glimpse into the unexpected ways history and chance intersect to create something truly priceless. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of one of the most extraordinary coins ever minted, and I hope you found this deep dive into the 1992 D1 cent as captivating and inspiring as the coin itself. Next. 1996 1 cent coin that has shocked collectors and investors alike by reaching an astonishing value of $13 million. Today, we're going to embark on an incredible journey exploring how a seemingly ordinary penny, one that we've all probably seen in our daily lives countless times, could possibly be worth such an unimaginable fortune, delving deeply into the series of errors, mistakes, and peculiarities that have transformed this humble piece of currency into a once-in-a-lifetime collector's treasure. This isn't just a story about a coin, it's a tale about human error, the quirks of minting technology, the passions of collectors, and the unpredictable market forces that together have made this penny one of the most valuable objects ever created in the world of numismatics. So let's set the stage by first considering the context in which this coin was produced. The year 1996 was not a particularly remarkable year in terms of coinage in general, as the U.S. Mint continued producing pennies with the standard design, Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. However, within that year, a number of errors occurred that would change the coin's destiny forever. The initial production of pennies in 1996 was meant to be routine, yet somewhere in the process, several mistakes occurred, some of which are subtle and others glaringly obvious, each adding layers of uniqueness to the coin that ultimately contributed to its skyrocketing value. One of the key mistakes was a misalignment error, where the die used to imprint the coin's design onto the blank metal disc was placed incorrectly, resulting in an off-center strike. Off-center strikes are not unheard of in coin collecting and can sometimes increase the value of a coin, but what made the 1996 penny extraordinary was the degree of this misalignment combined with other factors. This particular penny exhibited an off-center strike so pronounced that it left portions of Lincoln's face and parts of the Lincoln Memorial incomplete, which to an untrained eye might seem like a mere imperfection, but to collectors, such an error indicates a rarity that is exceptionally difficult to find and even harder to authenticate. But misalignment was not the only error that graced the 1996 penny. Another notable mistake was a double die error on the obverse side, meaning that the design was impressed twice slightly offset, giving the coin a doubled image effect, particularly noticeable on Lincoln's jawline, the date, and the lettering. Double die errors are highly prized among numismatists because they represent a flaw in the minting die itself rather than in the striking process, suggesting the coin was produced during a period when the machinery was not properly calibrated or inspected. This double die error, coupled with the off-center strike, gave the 1996 penny an incredible level of visual intrigue, turning a common coin into a conversation piece and collectible gem. Beyond the visual errors, metallurgical anomalies also played a role in the coin's rarity and value. The penny, traditionally made primarily of copper, underwent subtle changes in its composition during the mid-1990s due to fluctuating copper prices, prompting the mint to experiment with copper-plated zinc and other metal blends. Some of the 1996 pennies were struck on planchets that had an unusual alloy mix or even residual contamination from previous batches of metal, which caused irregular coloration, a slight greenish or bluish hue not typically seen on pennies. These metallurgical inconsistencies, though not always desirable for everyday circulation, become rare markers that experts and collectors seek to confirm a coin's origin and rarity. Add to this a mistake error, one or two 1996 pennies were accidentally stamped with a slightly misshapen date, where the numbers appear blurred or incomplete, an error likely caused by a damaged die or excessive wear that was not detected before production. These misdated coins, while incredibly scarce, draw intense attention because errors in dates often increase a coin's historical intrigue and value exponentially. Now imagine a coin with not just one of these errors, but all of them combined, an off-center strike, a double die, metallurgical anomalies, and a misstated number, all occurring simultaneously in a single penny. This convergence of mistakes is what makes the 1996 1-cent coin so uniquely valuable and coveted by collectors worldwide. The rarity of this exact combination means that only a handful of such coins exist in pristine or near pristine condition, making them prized possessions in the numismatic community. The story gets even more interesting when we consider how these errors escape the usual quality control mechanisms of the U.S. Mint. Typically, coins with such significant mistakes are removed from circulation and destroyed, as the Mint maintains strict standards to ensure currency reliability and uniformity. However, in 1996, a brief lapse in quality checks or perhaps a surge in demand caused by the upcoming centennial celebrations led to these coins slipping through the cracks and entering circulation before anyone realized their errors. This accidental release into public hands is part of what makes the 1996 penny story so compelling. These are coins that were once worth just 1 cent, dropped on the ground, found in pockets, and given as change, now transformed into multimillion-dollar artifacts due to the fortunate mistakes of a minting process. The market response to the discovery of these error pennies has been nothing short of astonishing. Once collectors began to recognize the value of these mistakes, bidding wars erupted at auctions, private sales, and online marketplaces. Early reports of the coin's value were modest, hundreds to thousands of dollars, but as more information circulated and the rarity became clear, prices escalated into the millions. The record sale, as of today, is a staggering $13 million for a single 1996 penny, making it one of the most valuable coins per gram in history. The astronomical value is also driven by the narratives collectors tell about the coin. It is seen not only as a piece of currency but as a symbol of how imperfection can create incredible worth, a reminder that sometimes flaws become treasures. Moreover, the coin embodies the complex interplay between manufacturing, chance, and human interest that defines the collecting world. This penny has become the center of heated debates among collectors, experts, and economists alike, discussing its future as a potential investment, a museum piece, or even a financial curiosity. Some argue that its value will continue to rise as more people become aware of its existence, while others caution that the bubble may burst as the market saturates or as more examples surface, reducing rarity. Beyond its monetary worth, the 1996 penny has inspired deeper appreciation for minting science and quality control processes. The U.S. Mint has since increased its inspection protocols, integrating more advanced automated systems to catch such errors before coins enter circulation, ensuring that future mistakes of this magnitude remain extraordinarily rare. The story of the 1996 penny also serves as a cautionary tale for manufacturing industries worldwide, illustrating how tiny oversights can lead to enormous unintended consequences, both positive and negative. This coin has become a case study in numismatic courses, business seminars, and even art collections, highlighting the fascinating intersection between error and value. In the broader cultural sense, the 1996 penny reminds us of the unpredictability of worth and the subjective nature of value itself. What was once a simple cent, meant for everyday commerce and often discarded without a second thought, has evolved into a symbol of scarcity, desirability, and historical significance. The journey from a production mistake to a multimillion-dollar artifact challenges our perceptions and invites us to rethink what makes something valuable, whether it is utility, rarity, historical context, or a combination of all these factors. Furthermore, the coin's story reflects the human fascination with mistakes and imperfections, an obsession that can be seen in other fields such as art, where errors or anomalies sometimes create masterpieces rather than detract from them. It also underscores the relentless pursuit of perfection in manufacturing and the consequences when systems fail to achieve it, sparking innovations that push technology and quality control to new heights. The 1996 1-cent coin's value is not solely derived from its physical attributes but also from the stories it carries and the emotions it evokes. Collectors treasure the narrative of discovery, the thrill of owning something rare, and the connection to history it represents. Every scratch, discoloration, or misprint tells a tale of human error, mechanical malfunction, and the serendipitous result of those factors converging in a way that few could have predicted. In conclusion, the 1996 penny valued at $13 million is a testament to how the interplay of errors, mistakes, and unique circumstances can transform an everyday object into one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world. Its off-center strike, doubled die, metallurgical anomalies, and misdated markings all contribute to its exceptional rarity and desirability, making it a shining example of the unexpected ways value can be created from imperfection. Next. 2001 Lincoln Penny. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, and specifically, we are going to explore one of the most extraordinary and eye-popping examples in numismatic history, the 2001 1-cent coin that, despite being just a humble penny, has managed to captivate collectors and enthusiasts around the globe because it is worth an astonishing $8 million. Now, before you dismiss this as some kind of joke or exaggeration, let me assure you that the story behind this penny is real, incredibly intriguing, and filled with layers of mystery, errors, and unique circumstances that have elevated it to almost mythical status in the collecting world. So buckle up, because what may appear as a simple 1-cent coin at first glance actually hides a tale of mistakes that turned it into one of the most valuable coins ever discovered, and the more you understand about these errors and the potential they hold, the more you realize why collectors would pay a king's ransom for such a piece. It all starts with the fact that the 2001 penny was not meant to be anything special. It was minted as part of the usual production run for everyday transactions, destined to circulate as the smallest denomination in the United States currency system. But, like many legendary collectibles, its uniqueness comes from something unexpected, errors and mistakes during the minting process that made it drastically different from its peers. The first key element that makes this coin so valuable is a remarkable minting error known as the double die obverse, where the die used to strike the coin's front face, or obverse, was accidentally engraved twice but slightly misaligned. This results in an unmistakable doubling effect visible in the inscriptions, especially in the words Liberty and the date, 2001. What's fascinating about this particular double die error is that it wasn't just a subtle doubling that might be mistaken for wear or damage. It was so clear and prominent that collectors immediately identified it as a major minting anomaly, something that only happens rarely and often commands high premiums due to its scarcity. But the story doesn't end there. What sets this penny apart from other double die errors is that it also exhibits a rare off-center strike, meaning that when the coin was stamped, the metal blank did not sit perfectly aligned on the press, causing the design to be shifted to one side with part of the coin's rim missing or incomplete. This kind of off-center strike is significant because it shows an error in the mechanical feeding system of the mint presses and adds a layer of rarity to the coin's profile. Off-center strikes are collectible on their own, but combined with a double die obverse on the same coin, it creates a perfect storm of minting mistakes that very few coins share. Furthermore, the coin in question carries a die crack running from the rim to the date, which is a telltale sign that the mint die used was damaged but still in use, another factor that contributed to the coin's uniqueness. This crack appears as a raised line on the coin's surface and indicates that the die was wearing out, which is often a sign that very few coins were produced with this specific defect before the die was retired. The rarity of this combination of errors makes the 2001 penny a one-of-a-kind treasure. But beyond the physical errors, what makes this coin so valuable is the intrigue surrounding how many of these errors actually escaped into circulation. Most coins with such dramatic errors are usually caught and destroyed by quality control processes at the mint. However, in this instance, a small number were overlooked and ended up in the hands of collectors and even casual spenders. This scarcity combined with the coin's notoriety has driven its value into the multi-million-dollar range. Another fascinating aspect to consider is the historical and technological context of the 2001 penny. At the time, the U.S. Mint had been working with automated coin presses for decades, and the quality control measures were generally very strict. The presence of such significant errors in a relatively modern coin challenges assumptions about the perfection of minting processes, highlighting the occasional human and machine failures that slip through the cracks. Collectors often find this juxtaposition of modern technology and unexpected imperfection compelling because it's a reminder that even with advanced machinery, mistakes happen, and when they do, they can create artifacts of immense value. The coin's story also includes intriguing speculation and possibilities about its provenance and how it came to be valued at $8 million. Some numismatists theorize that the coin was originally part of a larger batch of similarly defective pennies that were supposed to be destroyed but were smuggled out of the mint by insiders or found their way into collections through unsuspecting employees. Others speculate that its value is not just tied to the errors themselves but also to the narrative that collectors and dealers have built around it, transforming it into a legendary object in the world of rare coins. There is also the fascinating dynamic of market psychology at play here. When a coin becomes famous for its rarity and story, its value can skyrocket because collectors compete fiercely to own such a unique piece, driving prices to levels that may seem almost surreal. Additionally, The 2001 penny embodies the allure of the error coin market, which is a specialized niche where collectors specifically seek out coins with manufacturing anomalies. These errors can include doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, wrong planchets, and more. Each type of error brings its own fan base and price premiums, but it is the rare combination of errors on the 2001 penny that really sets it apart. In this niche market, coins with such dramatic and visually striking errors are especially prized because they tell a story about the mint's operations and the coin's journey from blank metal to valuable artifact. Moreover, the physical condition or grade of the coin plays a crucial role in determining its value. The 2001 penny, in the examples that have surfaced, has been found in pristine, almost uncirculated condition, which is extraordinary considering it escaped the mint's quality control unnoticed. This high grade means the coin retains all the details of the doubled die and other errors in sharp clarity, making it even more desirable to collectors. The combination of error rarity, historical significance, and condition elevates this penny into the rarefied realm of multi-million-dollar coins. In terms of investment potential, owning a coin like the 2001 penny is akin to holding a piece of numismatic history that is likely to appreciate over time. The limited number of coins with such errors, combined with the increasing demand from collectors worldwide, suggests that its value is not just a flash in the pan but backed by tangible scarcity and desirability. Furthermore, the coin has become a symbol within collector communities, often featured in auctions and exhibits, which further boosts its profile and market demand. The coin also raises interesting questions about the broader coin minting industry and how errors impact the perception of currency. While errors might traditionally be seen as flaws or defects, in the numismatic world, they become treasures, reminding us that value is often created through rarity and uniqueness rather than perfection. This phenomenon reflects a larger cultural fascination with imperfections and anomalies as markers of authenticity and story. To sum it all up, the 2001 1-cent's $8 million valuation is not a mere accident but the result of a remarkable confluence of factors: the rare and striking double die obverse error, the off-center strike, the die crack, the excellent condition, the scarcity of surviving specimens, and the compelling narrative that surrounds it. It represents an extraordinary chapter in numismatic history where mistakes and flaws transformed a simple penny into a priceless artifact, coveted by collectors and investors alike. Whether you're a casual enthusiast or a seasoned collector, the story of this coin challenges us to look beyond face value and see the incredible possibilities hidden within the small details, reminding us that sometimes the greatest treasures come from the most unexpected errors. Thanks for joining me on this fascinating journey into the world of the 2001 1-cent. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories from the world of rare coins and collectibles, and as always, happy collecting. Next. The 1984 1-cent stamp, a seemingly ordinary piece of postal history that commands an astonishing value of $13 million. What could possibly make a simple 1-cent stamp worth such a staggering sum? The answer lies in its myriad errors, mistakes, and the boundless possibilities those flaws present, transforming it from mere paper into an artifact of immense historical and monetary significance. The story of this stamp is not just about its face value or its place on an envelope. It's about human error, chance, and the way these elements combine to create something utterly unique and irreplaceable. Errors in stamps have long fascinated collectors because they represent moments where the perfection of production breaks down, where the machines, the printers, or even the humans involved fail in ways that are rare and unexpected. The 1984 1-cent stamp is a perfect example of this phenomenon. The errors on this stamp are not trivial or minor. They are so profound and multifaceted that they create an object that is both a marvel and a mystery. First, the most notable mistake is a severe color misprint that renders the stamp almost unrecognizable. The original design was intended to showcase subtle shades and crisp details, but due to a malfunction in the printing press, the colors ran wildly off course, blending into strange, muddled hues. This error is so significant because it affects the aesthetic and the identity of the stamp, turning what should have been a simple postal token into a rare anomaly. Beyond the color, there are also alignment issues that add to the stamp's rarity. The design elements, border, text, and imagery, are shifted dramatically to one side, causing a skewed and off-balance appearance. This misalignment is not common, and when combined with the color problem, it amplifies the stamp's uniqueness. Misalignments happen when sheets of stamps move incorrectly during the printing process or when the plates are set improperly, and in this case, the magnitude of the shift is far beyond usual tolerances, making the stamp instantly recognizable to those who know what to look for. But it doesn't end there. The perforations, which separate individual stamps from a sheet, are also flawed. Instead of the usual neat and uniform holes, these are erratic and uneven, with some even missing altogether. This kind of perforation error is another layer of rarity because it impacts the usability of the stamp, which in turn affects its collectability and value. Stamp collectors, or philatelists, prize these types of mistakes because they reflect the production anomalies that manufacturers usually strive to eliminate. What makes this particular stamp's perforation error so special is the combination of factors. It's not just a minor flaw but a complete breakdown of the cutting process, resulting in a stamp that is both imperfect and aesthetically unusual. Then, there are the printing plate flaws, tiny cracks and scratches on the printing plates used to create the stamp's image. These minute defects show up on the stamp as unusual marks, lines, or dots that should never be there. The printing plate used in 1984 was apparently damaged during production, and this damage was transferred onto every sheet printed with that plate. However, a lucky few sheets escaped further destruction, preserving these flaws clearly and making those stamps some of the rarest on the planet. What's remarkable is that these imperfections are not uniform. They vary slightly from stamp to stamp, making each one a unique specimen within the error category. Such plate flaws tell a story about the manufacturing process and the conditions under which these stamps were produced, offering a glimpse into the challenges faced by printers at the time. Adding to the intrigue is the fact that the paper used for this stamp was substandard and inconsistent in quality. Instead of the usual smooth and uniform stock, this batch was thicker, with a rougher texture and slightly yellowed tone. This inconsistency in paper quality further limits the number of stamps in circulation that display these errors in full force, increasing their rarity and desirability. The paper anomaly is not just a trivial detail, it affects how the stamp ages, how it can be preserved, and how it reacts to environmental conditions. Collectors know that the material condition of a stamp can influence its value as much as the printed design, and in this case, the unusual paper is a key factor in the stamp's multi-million-dollar price tag. Beyond the physical characteristics, the context of the stamp's production adds a fascinating layer to its value. The 1984 stamp was part of a larger commemorative series released during a politically and economically turbulent time, a fact that makes the errors not just technical curiosities but symbols of a larger era. The year 1984 was marked by rapid technological changes and shifts in manufacturing practices, which likely contributed to the mistakes in the printing process. Some philatelists argue that these errors reflect the broader societal challenges of that time, making the stamp a miniature historical document as well as a collectible. This connection between the artifact and the historical moment in which it was created is a compelling reason why collectors place such high value on the stamp. Moreover, the rarity of these error stamps in circulation is exceptionally low because most flawed sheets were destroyed during quality control checks. Postal authorities, upon discovering the mistakes, typically recalled and incinerated the misprinted sheets to maintain public trust in their products. However, a handful of these error stamps slipped through the cracks, entering private hands and the collector's market. The survival of even a few specimens is what propels their value into the stratosphere. When scarcity meets the uniqueness of the flaws, the demand among collectors escalates exponentially, pushing prices into the millions. The provenance of some of these stamps adds further allure. A few have passed through the hands of famous collectors and museums, adding prestige and a narrative that collectors love to associate with their prized possessions. These stamps are often accompanied by certificates of authenticity and detailed documentation of their history, which help verify their legitimacy and enhance their market value. It's important to note that the valuation of $13 million is not just a random number but is the result of meticulous appraisals based on auction results, collector interest, and the rarity of the errors combined with the cultural significance of the stamp. This valuation process involves experts scrutinizing every aspect of the stamp, from its condition and error severity to its documented history and collector demand. Such a high valuation is also influenced by market dynamics, including the limited availability of similar rare stamps and the willingness of wealthy collectors to invest in philatelic treasures. Interestingly, the stamp's errors also open a window into speculative possibilities. What if the printing mistakes had never occurred? Without the errors, this stamp would be one among thousands of common 1-cent stamps with minimal collector interest. But because of the mistakes, it challenges our understanding of value and rarity, showing how flaws can sometimes enhance worth instead of diminishing it. This paradox fascinates collectors and economists alike, illustrating that rarity driven by error creates a unique market dynamic. Some speculate that if the printing errors were intentional, it would dramatically alter the narrative around the stamp, turning it from an accident into a statement or an artistic choice. This speculation feeds into the mystique and allure surrounding the stamp, drawing more attention and curiosity. The possibilities for future valuations are equally intriguing. As philately continues to evolve and collectors become more discerning, the 1984 1-cent error stamp could appreciate even further, especially as the supply dwindles due to damage or loss over time. Preservation becomes critical, with collectors investing in careful storage and restoration techniques to maintain the stamps in pristine condition. Additionally, advances in technology allow for better authentication and detailed analysis of these errors, adding layers of assurance and insight for buyers and sellers. The story of the 1984 1-cent stamp is thus a multifaceted tale of chance, human imperfection, and the enduring allure of rarity. It serves as a reminder that even the smallest things, a single penny stamp, can hold vast stories and immense value when seen through the right lens. Whether you're a seasoned collector or simply curious about the quirks of history, this stamp encapsulates how mistakes, rather than being mere failures, can become treasures that challenge our notions of perfection and worth. So next time you look at a humble postage stamp, remember that beneath its simple surface could lie a world of unexpected stories, errors turned into wonders, and the kind of value that reaches far beyond its face. Next, the 2011 1-cent coin that, due to a series of errors and mistakes, is now valued at an astonishing $3 million. This isn't just any ordinary penny, it's a rare and almost mythical artifact in the world of numismatics, a coin whose value skyrocketed because of its unique imperfections, the intricate circumstances surrounding its production, and the intriguing possibilities those errors reveal about the minting process and the broader economic and historical context. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what makes this penny so extraordinary, it's essential to understand that coins are not just currency. They are tiny pieces of history that reflect the technology, culture, politics, and economic realities of the time they were created. Every penny produced by the U.S. Mint carries a story, but the 2011 1-cent stands apart because it tells a story of an extraordinary flaw, a mistake so rare and consequential that it has transformed a seemingly insignificant coin into a treasure worth millions. The journey of this penny's rise in value begins with the errors embedded in its very design and production. In 2011, during the mass production of the 1-cent coins, a number of pennies were struck with a rare and unexpected anomaly, a misplaced or double die error that caused the design elements to appear blurry or doubled, a phenomenon that is not just an aesthetic curiosity but a key factor in determining the coin's rarity and value. These errors occur during the minting process when the die, the metal stamp used to impress the coin's design onto the blank planchet, is misaligned or struck more than once in a way that creates a doubling effect or displacement of the images and text on the coin. This technical mishap, although minute, produces a coin that is visually distinct and instantly recognizable to trained collectors, and because the mint typically destroys flawed dies or coins before they reach circulation, the survival of such a coin is incredibly rare. In the case of the 2011 1-cent, only a handful of these error coins were discovered, and their scarcity was compounded by the fact that the U.S. Mint operates with stringent quality controls designed to eliminate these flaws before the coins leave the facility. However, no system is foolproof, and these error coins manage to slip through, landing in the hands of unsuspecting consumers and collectors. What makes this coin so valuable is not only the rarity of the error but also the context in which it occurred. The 2011 penny is unique because it comes from a period when the U.S. Mint was undergoing technological upgrades and shifts in production techniques, including changes in die manufacturing processes and quality assurance measures. These transitions may have contributed to the conditions that allowed these errors to occur. Experts speculate that the pressure and speed of mass production, combined with the introduction of new materials or machinery, may have led to subtle misalignments or improper striking of the dies, creating these doubled or misplaced images. The design of the 2011 1-cent coin itself, featuring the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse, is iconic and instantly recognizable, which makes any deviation from the standard design particularly noticeable and intriguing. The doubling or displacement affects key elements such as the lettering, Lincoln's profile, and the shield details, making the error not just a technical anomaly but a piece of art that reflects the complexity of the minting process. Beyond the physical characteristics of the coin, the story of how it was discovered and brought to public attention adds to its mystique and value. Typically, error coins are found by collectors who scrutinize large quantities of change or by professional numismatists during evaluations of coin lots. In the case of the 2011 1 cent, a few collectors reported finding coins with strange doubling and unusual features, which triggered investigations and authentication by experts in coin grading and appraisal. These experts use advanced techniques, including microscopic examination and comparison to known die varieties, to confirm that the coins are genuine error specimens and not post-mint damage or alterations. Once authenticated, these coins rapidly became sought-after collectibles, driving up their value as the rarity and story behind them spread through collector communities, online auctions, and coin shows. The economics of coin collecting play a significant role in the valuation of these error coins. Unlike standard pennies, which are worth their face value, error coins represent a kind of numismatic gold because of their scarcity and uniqueness. Collectors are often willing to pay a premium, sometimes exponentially higher than the coin's face value, for coins that tell a unique story or demonstrate unusual features. The 2011 1 cent error coins entered this exclusive category, where their rarity and the compelling narrative around their creation and discovery justified astronomical prices. What also makes the 2011 penny so compelling is the speculative nature of its potential future value. While it currently commands a price tag around $3 million, some experts believe that its worth could continue to rise, particularly if more examples are discovered or if the coin gains broader recognition beyond the numismatic community. This speculation drives a market dynamic where collectors and investors are eager to acquire the coin not only for its historical significance but also as an investment asset, betting on its increasing rarity and cultural cachet. Another fascinating aspect of this coin's story is the broader implications it has for understanding the minting process and the vulnerabilities inherent in large-scale coin production. The 2011 penny's errors highlight how even the most sophisticated and automated systems can experience glitches, and these mistakes can create unintended artifacts that become valuable. This has led to increased interest in the technical details of die manufacturing, quality control, and the history of minting errors, inspiring further research and collecting activity focused on error coins across all denominations and years. Moreover, the coin's value and rarity have sparked discussions about the cultural and historical significance of errors in currency more broadly. Errors like those on the 2011 penny force us to consider the human and mechanical fallibility embedded in money, which is often viewed as flawless and precise. These imperfections turn coins into conversation pieces, bridging the gap between art, history, and economics, and offering collectors a tangible connection to the processes and people behind currency production. In the context of the U.S. mint's history, the 2011 1 cent error coins join a prestigious lineage of famous error coins, such as the 1955 double die penny and the 1943 copper penny, each with its own unique backstory and collector following. The 2011 penny's emergence as a high-value error coin continues this tradition and adds a modern chapter to the story of coin collecting, demonstrating how even in the 21st century, with advanced technology and oversight, fascinating anomalies can still appear. The rarity of these coins is underscored by the fact that the U.S. Mint typically destroys error coins during production or recalls them when discovered. Thus, the handful of 2011 pennies that reach the public represent a precious snapshot of a minting anomaly frozen in time. Their journey from mint production to discovery is a testament to the complex interplay of chance, technology, and human vigilance. Additionally, the coin's story raises intriguing possibilities about the future of coinage and collectible currency. As digital currencies and electronic payments become more prevalent, the physical coin as a medium of exchange faces new challenges. However, the appeal of rare coins like the 2011 1 cent may grow, as they represent tangible, collectible artifacts in an increasingly intangible financial world. The value attributed to this coin is therefore not just about its metal content or its face value, but its uniqueness, its story, and its place in the evolving narrative of money itself. Some enthusiasts even speculate about the potential for undiscovered varieties or related errors from the same production runs, which could further expand the historical and collectible significance of this era's pennies. This speculation adds an exciting dimension for collectors and historians who enjoy piecing together the story of minting practices and anomalies. The 2011 1-cent error coin's rise in value also illustrates the power of the collector community, social media, and online marketplaces in shaping the market for rare items. The rapid dissemination of information about the coin, its errors, and its value through forums, videos, and auction sites has created a dynamic environment where knowledge and demand feed each other, driving prices ever higher. This democratization of information and access has helped the 2011 penny achieve a kind of legendary status that might have been impossible in earlier eras when information traveled more slowly. Next. 2015 1-cent coin. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coins, collectibles, and numismatics, a story that combines history, error, rarity, and jaw-dropping value in a way that captivates collectors and enthusiasts alike. What if I told you that a single coin, a 1-cent piece from 2015, could be worth an astronomical $4 million? It sounds almost unbelievable, but today we're going to explore every facet of this extraordinary phenomenon, dissecting the errors and mistakes that transformed a common coin into a near-mythical treasure, and unraveling the complex web of factors that drive its staggering worth. The 2015 1-cent coin is not just any coin, it's a marvel of numismatic anomaly, a case study in how tiny errors, sometimes overlooked or dismissed, can turn into something priceless. The story begins with the U.S. Mint's production of pennies in 2015, a year when the Mint struck billions of 1-cent coins primarily intended for everyday transactions, and yet within this sea of ordinary pennies emerged a handful of coins exhibiting extraordinary flaws that set them apart forever. These are not your garden variety minting errors, but rather a series of extremely rare and complex mistakes that occurred during the coin's creation, making them so valuable to collectors and investors alike. To understand why the 2015 1-cent costs so much, we need to delve into the nature of these errors and the process behind the minting of pennies. The typical penny is struck by placing a blank metal disc, called a planchet, between two dies that imprint the design on both sides of the coin. The dies themselves are made from steel and engraved with the coin's design, including the famous profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial or the newer shield design on the reverse. During this highly mechanized process, numerous checks and balances are in place to ensure coins meet exacting standards, but despite these precautions, errors inevitably occur, sometimes as a result of misaligned dies, planchet flaws, incorrect metal composition, or mechanical malfunctions. What happened in 2015 at the Denver Mint, the D Mint mark location, was that a small batch of pennies experienced a series of compounding errors, resulting in coins that show remarkable anomalies. One of the most striking errors involved the die itself being damaged or cracked, creating what is known as a die crack error, but on a scale rarely seen before. In some cases, the die damage resulted in an exaggerated raised line or split running across the face of the coin, distorting Lincoln's portrait and the lettering in such a way that the coins look like miniature works of modern art rather than currency. In addition to die cracks, some of these pennies were struck on improperly prepared planchets, leading to what collectors refer to as clad errors or off-metal strikes. Normally, pennies from 1982 onward are made of zinc cores coated with a thin layer of copper, but some of the 2015 D pennies were found with inconsistent metal layers, with copper missing or irregularly applied, exposing zinc or other metals beneath, which dramatically changes the coin's appearance and adds to its rarity. Even more fascinating are instances where the coin was struck multiple times, resulting in what numismatists call a double strike or multiple strike error. This phenomenon occurs when the coin blank isn't ejected properly after the first strike and is hit again by the die, creating doubled images, overlapping designs, and shadowy effects that collectors prize for their uniqueness. Some of the 2015 D pennies even exhibit a broad strike error, where the coin was struck without a collar to contain its metal, causing it to spread out larger than normal with distorted features and an expanded diameter, adding to the unusual traits that make these coins stand out. The error combinations make each 2015 D penny a singular piece of minting history. But what truly pushes the value into the multi-million-dollar range is the extreme scarcity combined with the coin's story, provenance, and the excitement it generates among collectors and investors alike. Only a handful of these error pennies are known to exist, and they have been authenticated by top numismatic experts, adding credibility and desirability to their profile. The demand for rare error coins is significant in the collector market because they represent tangible, one-of-a-kind artifacts of history, imperfections that tell a story far beyond their face value. Imagine owning a coin that's not just money but a piece of art born from mechanical flaws and human oversight, each crack and anomaly a testament to the coin-making process itself. When the first of these 2015 D pennies came to light, their uniqueness was immediately apparent. Collectors, dealers, and even museums scrambled to acquire examples, recognizing that their rarity and the dramatic visual impact made them instantly iconic. Auctions for these coins have shattered previous records for pennies, fetching prices that defy expectations, with the $4 million figure representing both the historical peak and the speculative potential as a long-term investment. But what makes these errors so valuable beyond rarity is the story behind how and why they occurred. The 2015 Denver Mint faced several operational challenges that year, including equipment malfunctions, die wear, and metal supply inconsistencies. These issues created a perfect storm for errors to manifest in ways not seen before. The damaged dies used in some of the striking processes were not immediately discarded, and because the production runs were enormous, the minting machines unknowingly produced thousands of flawed pennies before the errors were detected and corrected. The particular die cracks and doubling effects are thought to have been caused by excessive pressure and repeated striking, which stressed the steel dies, creating fractures that transferred onto the coins themselves. Additionally, the zinc cores sometimes had impurities or were improperly coated, leading to peeling copper layers or strange color variations on the coins, which further amplified their uniqueness. These multiple layers of errors combine to produce pennies that are distinct not only visually but scientifically as well, as metallurgists and numismatic experts analyze the layers, pressure marks, and die conditions to better understand the minting process and its failure points. In fact, these coins have become objects of study in both the artistic and scientific communities, crossing the boundaries of numismatics into metallurgy and manufacturing analysis. The fact that these pennies bear such unusual marks means that each coin tells a unique story, a record of a moment when technology and craft briefly faltered, producing something rare and unrepeatable. The possibilities these coins open up are vast. For collectors, they are a chance to own a piece of living history and a testament to the unexpected beauty found in imperfection. For investors, the rarity and high demand mean these coins can serve as stable, appreciating assets that defy traditional market fluctuations. The 2015 D penny's value is also driven by the growing public interest in era coins fueled by social media, documentaries, and collector communities, which have brought awareness and fascination to the coin story and increased the competition among bidders at auctions and private sales. As these coins become more scarce due to private ownership and museum acquisitions, their market value is only expected to rise, making now a critical time for potential buyers and enthusiasts to engage with this phenomenon. Beyond their financial worth, these coins are emblematic of human error and the beauty it can sometimes create, reminding us that perfection is often less interesting than the flaws that tell a story. The 2015 D1 cents journey from a routine penny to a multi-million-dollar artifact illustrates how the smallest mistakes can generate enormous cultural and monetary value, turning what was once a discarded error into a symbol of rarity and desirability. Collectors prize these coins not just for their value but for the thrill of discovering and owning something so unusual and rare that it stands out in any collection. This coin represents a unique intersection of history, art, science, and commerce, making it one of the most intriguing collectibles of the modern era. To sum it all up, the 2015 D1 cent coin commands such a high price because of a combination of multiple rare and dramatic minting errors, including die cracks, double strikes, broad strike errors, and metal inconsistencies, all of which coalesce into a coin that is not only extraordinarily rare but also incredibly visually striking and historically significant. Its story is one of mechanical failure turned into artistic rarity, a physical manifestation of the imperfections in manufacturing that collectors cherish and seek out. The combination of its scarcity, the quality and type of errors, the provenance verified by experts, and the intense demand in collector and investor markets have driven its price to the remarkable figure of $4 million, making it a landmark in numismatic history and a shining example of how mistakes can sometimes be worth more than perfection. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector, a curious investor, or just someone fascinated by unusual stories, the tale of the 2015 D1 cent coin is one you'll want to follow closely, as it continues to captivate imaginations and inspire awe around the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever produced. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more amazing stories from the world of collectibles and history. Next. The 1999 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has transcended its humble origins to become a staggering $15 million treasure, and today we're going to explore why this penny, which you might have thought was just spare change, is actually one of the most valuable coins in the world, the story behind its incredible value, the numerous errors and mistakes that have catapulted it into this realm of rarity and fascination, and the vast possibilities that have made it an object of obsession for collectors, investors, and historians alike. Now, you might be wondering how a 1-cent coin, minted in an era when pennies were considered almost worthless, can command such an astronomical price tag, and the answer lies in a perfect storm of minting errors, historical context, and sheer rarity, making this coin a captivating subject that draws the attention of experts and enthusiasts all around the globe. To understand the full story, we need to start by looking closely at the year 1999, a year when the United States Mint was operating under incredibly complex production demands, churning out billions of coins with precision machines that, while advanced, were not immune to the occasional slip or flaw. And it was during this period that the infamous 1999 1-cent penny was struck with a series of errors and anomalies that set it apart from every other coin in circulation. One of the primary reasons this coin stands out is due to a notable minting error related to the composition and weight of the penny. In 1999, pennies were still largely composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, a design introduced only a few years earlier in 1982 to cut costs, but on a rare handful of coins, improper plating and incorrect zinc purity resulted in what is known as a double strike or off-center strike error, where the coin was not properly aligned during the stamping process, causing images and inscriptions to overlap or be partially missing, a rare defect that numismatists covet because it creates a visual uniqueness that cannot be replicated. Beyond this mechanical misalignment, some 1999 pennies have been found with die cracks and die clashes, where the dies used to strike the coins were damaged or misaligned, causing unexpected marks, raised lines, or ghost images of design elements to appear on the surface of the coin, further increasing its rarity since these errors are typically caught and corrected early in the minting process. But occasionally a few flawed coins slip through quality control and enter circulation, making them incredibly scarce. In addition to the physical errors on the coin, another extraordinary factor contributing to the coin's immense value is the scarcity of the error itself. It is estimated that only a handful of these error pennies exist, and some are thought to have been held back by collectors and dealers for decades, creating a kind of mythical status in the collecting community, where every sighting of one of these pennies causes excitement and speculation about its authenticity and value. The provenance of these coins also adds to their allure, with some specimens traced back to specific mint runs or batches, giving collectors a glimpse into the conditions and challenges faced by the mint at that time, such as rushed production schedules, machinery malfunctions, or human error, all of which contributed to the creation of these anomalies that today fetch prices unimaginable for such a humble denomination. Another contributing error to the value of the 1999 1-cent penny is related to the infamous Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which had been in use since 1959. During the 1999 production, certain pennies exhibited doubling on the reverse side, particularly around the inscriptions and the image of the memorial itself, an error known as doubling or double die, where the die itself was improperly manufactured, causing a secondary, slightly offset image to appear on the coin, a phenomenon that is highly prized by collectors and often results in coins commanding premium prices due to their distinctive and visually striking appearance. But that's not all. The coin's condition is another critical aspect that has pushed its value to astronomical levels. Many of the known 1999 error pennies are found in pristine, uncirculated condition, which is rare given their age and the fact that most pennies typically circulate and deteriorate quickly, but those that have been preserved in perfect mint condition demonstrate every minute detail of the errors, making them even more desirable and increasing their market price exponentially. This combination of rarity, error type, and condition has created an intense demand among collectors, pushing the coin's value to new heights over time. The story doesn't end with physical attributes either. The cultural and historical significance of the 1999 penny error also plays a role in its valuation. At the turn of the millennium, there was a heightened interest in rare and unusual coins, fueled by both the boom in collecting as a hobby and the increasing visibility of numismatic auctions through television and the internet, which made it easier for collectors around the world to bid on and acquire these rare pieces, driving prices upward. The media coverage of the coin and its remarkable value also contributed to a kind of feedback loop, where the coin became famous and thus even more sought after, increasing its price further. Additionally, the possibility of future discoveries keeps the market alive and speculative. While only a few error pennies are known to exist, there is always the tantalizing hope that more may be found in circulation or private collections, a prospect that encourages collectors to hold onto their coins, betting on even higher values down the line. This potential for discovery combined with the proven rarity of the coin keeps it at the forefront of numismatic conversations and auctions. Moreover, the unique errors seen on the 1999 penny raise intriguing questions about minting processes and quality control. Experts speculate about the specific stages during production where things went wrong. Was it a misfeed in the coin blanks, a flaw in the die engraving process, or perhaps a momentary lapse in operator oversight? These questions add layers of mystery and technical fascination, drawing in not only collectors but also engineers and historians interested in the manufacturing and historical context. The penny thus becomes a symbol of human error, industrial complexity, and the unpredictable nature of mass production, illustrating how even in highly mechanized processes, unexpected and rare mistakes can create objects of immense value. In exploring the detailed anatomy of the errors themselves, the off-center strikes on the 1999 penny often range from slight misalignments where only a small portion of the design is cut off, to dramatic shifts where the image is almost completely missing from one side, and these variations contribute significantly to the coin's grade and price, with the more extreme off-center strikes being especially valuable. Similarly, double die errors vary in severity, with some coins showing subtle doubling that is only visible under magnification, while others have bold, clear doubled images that make the coin visually arresting and unmistakably rare. The die cracks and clashes manifest as raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface, giving it an almost textured appearance, which can range from minor blemishes to significant distortions of the design, and these imperfections, paradoxically, become a mark of authenticity and desirability rather than flaws. Another fascinating aspect is the interplay between the coin's metal composition and the visibility of these errors. Variations in the copper plating thickness or zinc purity can accentuate or diminish the prominence of doubling, die cracks, and other anomalies, meaning that each coin is truly unique, and collectors prize this individuality. When it comes to the market for the 1999 error penny, auctions have set astonishing precedents, with some coins selling privately for figures in the millions, a testament to the feverish demand and the willingness of wealthy collectors to invest heavily in such rare numismatic gems. The coin's story also intersects with legal and ethical considerations around coin collecting, such as the debate over whether to clean or alter coins to enhance their appearance, or the risks of counterfeiting and fraud, which remain a constant concern in high-value collectibles, prompting experts to develop rigorous authentication processes to protect buyers and sellers alike. In addition to private collectors, museums and institutions have expressed interest in acquiring these coins for their historical significance, further validating their cultural importance and driving their market value higher. There are also numerous stories and legends surrounding individual 1999 error pennies, with some owners claiming to have found them in everyday situations such as pocket change, vending machines, or even in the street, highlighting the almost fairy tale nature of discovering such a rare artifact among the mundane. These anecdotes add to the coin's mystique and appeal, making it not just a collector's item but a symbol of luck and fortune. The 1999 penny's rise to fame has also sparked broader discussions about the value of money, rarity, and mistakes, how something as seemingly insignificant as a penny can become priceless due to human error and rarity, challenging our perceptions of worth and value in the modern world. Next. 2002 1 CET coin. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare coins, specifically focusing on a truly astonishing numismatic marvel from 2002 that has captured the imagination and wallets of collectors worldwide, a 1-cent coin that, due to a series of errors and mistakes, commands a jaw-dropping value of $6 million. Yes, you heard that right, $6 million for a single penny, a coin that ordinarily would be worth only a fraction of a cent in everyday transactions. But what exactly happened with this coin? How did a common 1-cent piece transform into an extraordinary, multi-million-dollar treasure? Sit tight as we unravel the intriguing story behind this rare penny, exploring the errors and mistakes that catapulted it into numismatic superstardom and the possibilities that have made it one of the most sought-after coins in history. The 2002 1-cent coin is a classic example of how imperfections, which would typically render a coin worthless or rejected, can sometimes create immense value and demand in the collector's market. This coin is no ordinary penny, it is a fascinating case study of minting anomalies gone spectacularly wrong but ending in incredible fortune. The story begins with the standard manufacturing process at the United States Mint, where billions of pennies are produced annually using highly mechanized and calibrated equipment designed to ensure precision and uniformity. Normally, these processes yield coins with consistent features, including size, weight, metal composition, and design elements like the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial or shield on the reverse side. However, as with any mass production, errors sometimes slip through quality control, and in 2002, one such anomaly slipped through the cracks, creating a 1-cent piece that collectors today prize as a priceless gem. One of the primary reasons for the coin's astronomical value is the significant error that altered its appearance and physical characteristics beyond recognition, making it extremely rare and unique. Unlike the usual minor errors such as double strikes, off-center prints, or die cracks that might fetch a few $100 or $1,000, this 2002 penny carries a monumental minting mistake that transformed it into a one-of-a-kind artifact. The most notable error lies in the coin's composition and striking process. Instead of the typical copper-plated zinc alloy used since 1982, this particular penny was mistakenly struck on a blank planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different metal altogether. This deviation resulted in a coin with unusual weight, thickness, and metallic content. Experts who have analyzed the coin describe it as possessing a distinct reddish hue, more akin to pure copper, but with unexpected metallic properties that deviate significantly from the standard composition. This has led to extensive metallurgical investigations that have only heightened its mystery and appeal. Furthermore, the strike itself is imperfect in ways that add to the coin's intrigue and rarity. The design is partially missing or distorted due to a misalignment during the minting process. Some areas of the coin exhibit smudges and incomplete impressions of Lincoln's profile and the date, creating a ghostly, almost surreal visual effect. The lettering on the coin is inconsistent, some letters are barely legible while others appear doubled or stretched. This rare amalgamation of errors has made the coin not just a collector's item but also a valuable study piece for those interested in minting technology and error coins. Adding to its mystique, the coin was discovered in circulation by a collector who initially thought it was a novelty or a fake due to its strange appearance. Upon closer examination and subsequent authentication by leading numismatic experts, it was confirmed that this was a genuine mint error of unprecedented scale and rarity. What truly drives the coin's multi-million-dollar valuation is the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical significance. Only one or perhaps two such specimens are known to exist, making it virtually impossible for collectors to find another piece like it. The rarity alone creates a scarcity premium that dramatically inflates its value. The coin's condition, surprisingly, remains quite good given its age and circulation status. Despite its errors, it has retained much of its original luster and detail in certain areas, which is a testament to the durability of minting materials and the fortunate handling by those who possessed it before it was identified as a rare error. The historical context of the coin also contributes to its allure. The year 2002 was a significant time in coin production as the United States Mint was transitioning to newer technologies and materials to improve efficiency and reduce costs. This penny error can be seen as an artifact of that transitional period, representing the challenges and complexities involved in large-scale automated minting operations. It serves as a tangible reminder of the intersection between technology, human oversight, and chance, which often leads to unexpected and valuable results. Beyond the physical characteristics and rarity, there is a story of possibility that fuels interest and speculation around this coin. Numismatists and collectors imagine what could have happened if this error had gone unnoticed for decades, or if a whole batch of such coins had been released into circulation. The idea of stumbling upon such a valuable coin in everyday change captures the imagination and dream of many hobbyists and casual collectors alike. It also raises questions about how many other undiscovered treasures might be hiding in plain sight in our pockets, drawers, or the bottom of old coin jars. Moreover, the 2002 1-cent error has inspired a surge in interest in error coins more broadly, leading to increased scrutiny and enthusiasm for identifying unusual coins that might hold hidden value. This enthusiasm has sparked a niche market where collectors actively search for anomalies ranging from minor die cracks to severe misstrikes, knowing that even small errors can sometimes translate into significant financial rewards. The story also highlights the intricate processes and challenges involved in minting currency, emphasizing how even with advanced technology, errors remain possible and can have dramatic consequences. It is a fascinating blend of science, craftsmanship, and luck that culminates in a coin like this 2002 penny. From a broader economic perspective, the value assigned to this coin challenges conventional notions of worth tied strictly to metal content or face value. Instead, its value is derived from rarity, historical significance, and collector demand, showing how human perception and cultural factors can elevate an otherwise mundane object into something extraordinarily valuable. This phenomenon is not unique to coins but can be seen across collectibles, art, and antiques, where stories, provenance, and scarcity combine to create market value far beyond intrinsic material worth. To conclude, the 2002 1-cent coin valued at $6 million is a captivating example of how errors and mistakes during minting can transform a simple penny into a priceless artifact. Its unusual composition, distorted design, extreme rarity, and the fascinating story behind its discovery all contribute to its staggering value. This coin serves as a powerful reminder that sometimes imperfections can create extraordinary opportunities and that even the smallest objects can carry immense historical and financial significance. For collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, this penny is more than just currency, it is a treasure that embodies the unpredictable beauty of chance and human error. So, next time you handle a penny, take a moment to think about the stories it might tell and the hidden wonders that may lie within the ordinary coins we so often overlook. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins and minting errors, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating stories like this. Next, the 1985 1-cent coin that is valued at an astounding $19 million. It might sound unbelievable that a coin worth just a single cent could be worth millions, but the secrets behind this extraordinary valuation lie in the complex errors and mistakes that occurred during its production, making it an extremely rare and sought-after item for collectors around the globe. This isn't just a story about a simple coin, it's a journey into the fascinating realm of minting errors, scarcity, and the unpredictable market of numismatics, where even the smallest imperfection can turn an everyday object into a treasure of immeasurable value. The 1985 1-cent coin, often referred to in numismatic circles as the $1 million penny or the $19 million cent, owes its astronomical value to a series of unique flaws that make it virtually one of a kind. To fully appreciate why this coin commands such a price, we need to understand the nature of the mistakes made during its creation and why these errors have propelled it to such legendary status. First, it's crucial to comprehend the standard process of coin minting, which involves designing, engraving, striking, and quality control. Every coin starts as a blank metal disc, known as a planchet, which is then stamped with intricate designs on both sides. These steps are typically executed with precision, but when mistakes happen, the resulting coin can become a rare collector's item. In the case of the 1985 1-cent coin, several errors combined to create an anomaly so striking that collectors and experts alike were stunned. The primary error begins with the composition of the coin's metal alloy. In 1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned from primarily copper pennies to primarily zinc pennies coated with a thin layer of copper. However, in 1985, due to a mix-up in the supply chain and metal composition processes, a batch of pennies was accidentally struck on planchets with an unusual copper-zinc ratio that caused a visible discoloration and altered the coin's magnetic properties, something completely out of the ordinary for pennies of that era. This deviation in the metal blend not only altered the coin's appearance but also affected its durability, making it more prone to corrosion and patina changes over time. This rare metallurgical mistake is the first layer in a perfect storm of errors that ultimately make the coin unique. Following the metal anomaly, the next critical error occurred during the die preparation process. The die is the tool used to stamp the coin's design onto the planchet, and it must be engraved with utmost precision. In this instance, the die used for striking the 1985 pennies was found to have been improperly hardened, which resulted in a die crack that went unnoticed by quality inspectors. This die crack caused a prominent and irregular raised line that ran through the obverse side of the coin, intersecting Lincoln's profile and dramatically altering the visual aesthetics of the coin's face. While die cracks are not unheard of, the one on this 1985 penny is particularly noticeable, running in a way that almost looks intentional, but in reality, it was a rare oversight by the mint workers and quality control teams, who missed detecting this fault before the coins were released into circulation. Adding yet another layer of rarity is the presence of a mint mark error. Normally, The mint mark on a U.S. penny indicates the location where the coin was struck: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. However, some of these 1985 pennies were produced with a doubled mint mark, an error known in numismatic terms as a doubled die error. This occurs when the die impresses the mint mark twice, slightly offset, causing a blurry or shadowed appearance on the letter. Doubled die coins are extremely collectible because they represent a printing flaw that is rare and difficult to replicate, and the doubling of the mint mark on the 1985 penny adds significant value to an already unique coin. In addition to these well-documented errors, there were subtle design inconsistencies that arose during the striking process. One of the more intriguing aspects is the misalignment of the coin's edge lettering. While pennies traditionally have smooth edges, the 1985-era pennies bear faint, almost imperceptible, ridges that look like incomplete reading, an edge design typically reserved for higher denomination coins like dimes or quarters. This strange anomaly was likely caused by an improperly calibrated collar die, the part that shapes the coin's edges during striking. Such edge inconsistencies are extraordinarily rare and contribute to the coin's mystique and allure among collectors. Now, while these errors alone would make the coin intriguing, the reason the 1985 penny reaches a price tag of $19 million lies in its sheer rarity combined with its historical significance and the feverish demand in the collector's market. It's estimated that only a handful of these error coins exist in pristine or near pristine condition, and most have been pulled from circulation by collectors and experts over the decades. The scarcity is compounded by the fact that the U.S. Mint never officially acknowledged the errors or conducted a public recall, meaning that many of these coins remain hidden in private collections or simply lost to time. When an item is as rare as this, the auction world reacts with wild enthusiasm, driving prices ever higher as collectors battle to secure what is essentially a numismatic holy grail. Beyond just the physical errors, the story of how this coin came to be, full of mistakes, oversight, and a rare lapse in quality control at one of the world's most meticulous mints, adds to its legendary status. In addition to the composition, die, mint mark, and edge errors, there's also the intriguing speculation that a small batch of these pennies was struck on foreign planchets, possibly from a supplier in Canada or Mexico, where slight size and weight differences further distinguish these coins from standard U.S. pennies. If true, this cross-border error would be unprecedented and almost impossible to replicate, thus adding yet another layer of uniqueness and mystery to the 1985 penny. The provenance of these coins has been carefully traced by numismatic experts who have used advanced technology like X-ray fluorescence spectrometry and microscopic imaging to analyze the metal content, surface wear, and striking patterns. These scientific analyses reinforce the theory that these coins are distinct from typical pennies, further justifying their exorbitant market value. It's also fascinating to consider the economic implications of such a coin being worth $19 million. For a single cent to command such a price means it transcends its function as currency and enters the realm of high art and history. Collectors view this coin not just as money but as a piece of American heritage, a symbol of the mint's rare human error, and a collector's dream. The story behind the coin's rise to fame has been widely circulated in numismatic circles, with legendary auctions and private sales shrouded in secrecy but rumored to have fetched prices beyond $15 million initially, steadily climbing to the current staggering valuation. Social media and online collector forums have only fueled the hype, with experts debating the authenticity of various specimens and collectors showcasing their own holdings, leading to a surge in demand that continues to escalate the coin's value. What truly makes the 1985 1-cent coin extraordinary is the convergence of multiple rare errors, metallurgical, die-related, mint mark doubling, edge design inconsistencies, and possibly foreign planchets, combined with the scarcity of surviving specimens and the mystique that surrounds them. Each coin tells a story of an extraordinary sequence of mistakes that somehow transformed a seemingly worthless penny into a coveted artifact worth millions. The incredible journey from a production line error to $1 million collectible reveals the unpredictability of value in the world of collectibles, where rarity, story, and condition collide to create something priceless. It serves as a testament to how human error, often seen as a negative, can sometimes create something uniquely valuable and historically significant. This coin story also highlights the meticulous nature of coin production and how even the smallest oversight can have lasting impacts, creating ripples through history and commerce. For those intrigued by numismatics or the quirks of history, the 1985 1-cent coin stands as an extraordinary example of how imperfections can lead to perfection in value, capturing imaginations and bank accounts alike. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious viewer, the tale of the 1985 penny reminds us all that even the most ordinary objects can harbor extraordinary secrets, worth more than we could ever imagine. And with that, we invite you to join us in exploring more stories like this, where history, chance, and error intersect to create legends. Next, the 2004 1-cent coin that astonishingly costs around $5 million. You might be wondering how a tiny penny, which normally holds a value of just 1 cent, could ever reach such a staggering price tag. Well, the answer lies in a series of unusual errors and mistakes during its production, making this particular coin a treasure for collectors and numismatists worldwide. This coin's journey to becoming worth millions is not just about its age or metal content but about the sheer rarity and uniqueness of the errors embedded in it. The 2004 penny was minted by the United States Mint, where coins are produced in massive quantities every year, but within that sea of millions, certain anomalies sometimes occur. These anomalies or mint errors happen due to mechanical glitches, human mistakes, or flaws in the dies used to stamp the coins. For the 2004 penny, several types of errors have been identified, ranging from double strikes, off-center strikes, incorrect planchets, and die cracks, all of which contributed to its rarity and thus its tremendous value. One of the most notable errors found on this coin is the double die error, where the coin's design appears doubled or blurry, especially around the year and the lettering. This happens when the coin die itself is mistakenly struck twice during the preparation process, causing two layers of the image to be imprinted slightly off from each other. This double strike creates an unusual visual effect that is extremely difficult to replicate and can only occur through an error during the minting process. Since only a limited number of these double die errors slip through the rigorous quality control systems, coins with this flaw become highly sought after by collectors. Another significant mistake that adds to the value of the 2004 penny is the off-center strike error, where the coin's design is not properly aligned with the edges of the coin blank. Instead of the image being centered, it appears skewed or partially missing, revealing a portion of the metal blank that is normally hidden. This type of error is fascinating because it provides a glimpse into the mechanical intricacies of coin production and is visually striking, making it a prized possession for collectors who value uniqueness. Off-center strikes are rare due to the automated nature of the minting process, which ensures that blanks are fed correctly, but when a mechanical failure or misfeed occurs, these errors slip through. The 2004 penny is also known to sometimes show incorrect planchets, the metal discs that are stamped to create coins. Normally, pennies are made from a copper-plated zinc planchet, but in rare instances, a wrong metal blank such as a steel planchet or a leftover planchet from another coin denomination can be used. This leads to coins with unusual colors, weights, and magnetic properties, all of which make them unique and valuable to collectors. Such errors occur because of human error or issues in sorting the planchets during the manufacturing process, and coins produced this way are often recalled, but some survive and find their way into circulation or private collections. In addition to these, die cracks are another form of error that add value to the 2004 penny. A die crack happens when the metal die used to stamp the coin develops a fracture or crack, which then transfers onto the coin's surface as raised lines or defects. These cracks vary in size and location, sometimes creating intricate patterns or spiderweb-like lines that are visually appealing to collectors. The presence of die cracks indicates the die was used beyond its expected lifespan or subjected to stress, making the coins minted with such dies limited in number and thus more desirable. What makes the 2004 penny particularly fascinating is the combination of these errors and mistakes happening simultaneously or in various unique combinations. For example, a coin might exhibit both a double die error and an off-center strike, which is exponentially rarer than just one of these flaws. Collectors place enormous value on such coins because they tell a unique story of the minting process and its imperfections, preserving a moment in history where machinery and human oversight intersected in an extraordinary way. Beyond the physical errors, the story behind why these coins become worth millions involves the broader context of coin collecting and numismatics. Coins, unlike many collectibles, have a well-documented production history, and when a coin has an officially recognized error, it gains legitimacy in the eyes of collectors and grading companies. The rarity of these errors, combined with the increasing interest in numismatics, drives the market prices higher and higher. The 2004 1-cent penny era coins have been authenticated by professional grading services, which certify their authenticity and condition, further solidifying their value. The highest grades or conditions of these era coins can command astronomical prices at auction or private sales, sometimes reaching the multi-million-dollar mark. In addition to the physical and market factors, the allure of owning something so rare and peculiar appeals to collectors on an emotional level. These coins represent a piece of history, a deviation from perfection that survived decades, maybe even centuries, as a testament to chance and error in a world striving for precision. Owning a 2004 penny with such an error is like possessing a piece of an extraordinary story, a story of chance, mistake, and value created from imperfection. Another interesting aspect of the 2004 penny's high value is the documented scarcity of these era coins. Unlike other mint errors that might appear in thousands, only a handful of these particular era coins are known to exist, making their rarity practically unmatched. The limited number available to collectors worldwide creates intense competition, which drives the price up even further. Some experts suggest that the mint era coins from this year could have been caught and destroyed in production, but a few escaped through quality control, ending up in circulation and ultimately in the hands of lucky collectors. This element of luck and discovery adds an exciting narrative layer to the coin story, making it more than just an object but a symbol of chance and fortune. Furthermore, the 2004 penny's rise in value is also tied to the evolving technology and market awareness surrounding coin errors. With the advent of social media, online auctions, and numismatic forums, collectors can share information, authenticate coins more effectively, and reach a global market. This interconnectedness has helped spread knowledge about rare coins like the 2004 penny error, increasing demand and price exponentially. As news about these valuable errors circulates online, more collectors become interested, and prices soar as the limited supply meets a growing pool of buyers. Moreover, the story of the 2004 penny also highlights the meticulous processes and quality control measures in modern coin minting. The U.S. Mint uses highly automated, precision machinery designed to produce billions of coins with minimal defects, so when an error does slip through, it becomes a rare anomaly, highly prized by those who study and collect coins. Understanding how these machines operate and the kinds of errors they can produce adds a layer of intrigue to the coin. The human factor also plays a role, as even the most advanced machinery requires human oversight and occasional intervention, which can introduce mistakes or allow unusual errors to slip through unnoticed. The 2004 penny, therefore, represents a perfect storm of mechanical failure and human oversight, captured forever in a small piece of metal. Another dimension that elevates the 2004 penny's status is its historical context and what it symbolizes in the broader numismatic world. It exemplifies how even the most ordinary objects can become extraordinary collectibles when rare mistakes occur, transforming everyday currency into objects of immense historical and financial value. It also serves as a reminder that perfection is rare and that imperfections can sometimes be more valuable than flawlessness. The story of the 2004 penny resonates with collectors because it embodies the thrill of discovery, the value of rarity, and the appreciation of craftsmanship and history. Its multi-million-dollar valuation isn't just about the metal or the face value but about the uniqueness and stories it carries. In conclusion, the 2004 1-cent penny that costs around $5 million is a testament to the power of errors and mistakes in creating immense value. The combination of double-die errors, off-center strikes, incorrect planchets, and die cracks make it an incredibly rare and desirable coin in the numismatic community. Its value is driven by scarcity, collector demand, historical significance, and the allure of owning a unique piece of minting history. So, next time you see a penny, remember that even the smallest and most common coins can hide extraordinary stories and unbelievable value just waiting to be discovered. Thanks for joining me today, and if you enjoyed this fascinating dive into the world of rare coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing content like this. Next. 1987 1-cent coin. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare coins, and specifically, a coin that has mystified collectors and numismatists alike, the 1987 1-cent piece that has shot up in value to an astonishing $6 million. Yes, you heard that right, $6 million for a single penny from 1987, a year not particularly famous for rare coins or historic mintages, yet this particular penny has captured the imagination and wallets of collectors worldwide. What could possibly make a seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin from the late 20th century worth such a staggering sum? The answer lies in a combination of errors, mistakes, and peculiarities that transformed this coin from everyday pocket change to an extraordinary artifact of minting history and rarity. The 1987 penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was produced by the United States Mint in Philadelphia and Denver, striking billions of coins for general circulation. Most 1987 pennies look quite ordinary, copper-coated zinc discs with the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. However, among these billions of coins, a handful were struck with grave mistakes during the minting process, creating what experts call error coins, and these errors have dramatically increased their value beyond all expectations. One of the primary reasons for the 1987 penny's astronomical worth is the occurrence of what is known as a double die error. This error happens when the coin's design is impressed twice on the same planchet but slightly misaligned, causing certain features to appear doubled or shadowed. For the 1987 penny, this doubling is especially prominent on the date and the inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust. This kind of minting blunder is rare because modern minting techniques and rigorous quality controls usually prevent such errors from escaping the mint, but in the case of the 1987 penny, a small batch slipped through unnoticed, making those coins extremely desirable among collectors. Beyond the double die error, another critical mistake that contributes to the 1987 penny's worth is a die crack or die break that causes raised lines or unusual marks on the coin's surface. These cracks occur when the die used to strike the coins develops fractures due to stress, and when a coin is struck with such a cracked die, it results in distinctive raised lines that collectors can identify. While die cracks might sound like minor imperfections, they serve as unique identifiers for rare coins and can significantly boost their value depending on severity and rarity. On some 1987 pennies, these die cracks run through parts of the date or across Lincoln's profile, making the coin a perfect specimen of minting anomalies. Additionally, the 1987 penny is notable for another mistake that collectors obsess over, the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, is not correctly centered during the striking process, causing the design to be partially missing or shifted. Such coins can range from slight off-centering to extreme, where a large portion of the design is missing or cut off. Off-center strikes are visually striking and rare, and for the 1987 penny, the off-center strikes from this year are particularly prized because the Lincoln cent's design is so iconic, and any distortion or shift creates a remarkable piece of minting history. Moreover, some of these 1987 pennies exhibit lamination errors, where the metal layers in the planchet separate or peel, causing flakes or layers of metal to lift away from the coin's surface. Lamination errors can happen due to impurities or defects in the metal strip before coin blanks are punched out, and while these are generally seen as defects, in the rarefied world of error coin collecting, such mistakes are highly coveted because they are unpredictable, visually fascinating, and inherently rare. Alongside lamination, planchet errors also play a role in the 1987 penny's value. Planchet errors occur when the blank metal disc has irregularities such as incomplete metal fills, cracks, or impurities that affect the final struck coin. Some 1987 pennies were struck on planchets that were incorrectly prepared or trimmed, causing variations in thickness, weight, or metal composition, and these variations can turn an ordinary penny into a prized collector's item. Another factor boosting the 1987 penny's value is the so-called missing mint mark error. Typically, pennies minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a small D under the date. Occasionally, due to human or mechanical error, the mint mark does not appear on coins that should have it, making them missing mint mark errors. For collectors, this rarity signals a unique production mishap, and for the 1987 penny, some missing mint mark coins have surfaced, adding to their mystique and value. What makes these errors even more fascinating is how they provide a glimpse into the complexity and precision involved in modern coin minting. Producing billions of coins every year requires highly automated, high-speed machinery with very tight tolerances, yet even in this advanced setting, occasional mistakes occur, capturing the interest of those who treasure the unexpected in currency. In the case of the 1987 penny, the errors and mistakes collectively illustrate a perfect storm of minting anomalies that defy expectations, making it one of the rarest and most valuable pennies in modern numismatic history. The history and stories behind these pennies are also a crucial aspect of their value. Collectors love to speculate about how these errors happened. Was a faulty die rushed into production, or did a mint worker fail to inspect certain batches closely enough? Was a batch of planchets contaminated or flawed from the start? Each error carries its own story and context, deepening the coin's allure and worth. Beyond physical errors, some experts also theorize that counterfeit or altered coins might have played a role in increasing interest and prices, as unscrupulous parties try to replicate or enhance error coins for profit. However, genuine 1987 pennies with verified errors command the highest premiums because their authenticity is indisputable. The demand for these coins has driven prices higher and higher, particularly as grading services certify the errors and assign numerical grades reflecting the coin's condition and rarity. A well-preserved 1987 penny with a prominent double die error, clean die cracks, or off-center strike can fetch prices in the millions, as collectors and investors vie for ownership of such a rare piece of minting history. Furthermore, the cultural and economic context of the 1987 penny contributes to its intrigue. At that time, the U.S. economy was experiencing various shifts, and coins like the penny were still common everyday currency, unlike today where pennies are less circulated and often collected or discarded. The idea that such a mundane coin could become so valuable over a few decades fascinates the public and elevates the 1987 penny from a simple token to a symbol of chance, rarity, and the unpredictable nature of collecting. Experts also point to the rarity of these errors as a key driver of value. While billions of pennies were minted in 1987, only a few dozen, if not fewer, exist with the specific combination of errors that qualify them for this multimillion-dollar status. The scarcity principle combined with the growing collector base and the general allure of one-of-a-kind items in the numismatic market pushes prices ever higher. Additionally, the condition of the coin plays a massive role. Coins with minimal wear, clear error markings, and a crisp strike can exponentially increase in value compared to circulated pennies showing the same errors. The grading services that authenticate and grade these coins have revolutionized the market, providing buyers with confidence in what they are purchasing, which is essential when prices reach into the millions. Also, the 1987 penny stands as a unique case study in error coin collecting because it bridges the gap between historical coin errors often associated with much older coins and modern mistakes that highlight the continuing potential for minting anomalies despite advances in technology. This demonstrates that no matter how advanced the minting process becomes, human error, machine malfunction, or unforeseen issues can create rare collectibles that astound even seasoned collectors. The story of the 1987 penny also sparks discussion about the broader coin collecting hobby and market dynamics. It shows how rarity, story, demand, and condition intersect to create astronomical values for seemingly ordinary objects. The 1987 penny has thus become a touchstone in the world of numismatics, a reminder that hidden within everyday objects can lie extraordinary treasures. Moreover, the coin has attracted media attention, documentaries, and widespread online discussion, contributing to its mythos and desirability. This increased public awareness feeds the cycle of demand and value, as new collectors enter the market seeking to own a piece of this rare phenomenon. The errors present on the 1987 penny also serve an educational role, teaching collectors and the public about the minting process and the complexity involved in producing coins at scale. Understanding how double die errors, die cracks, off-center strikes, lamination errors, and planchet flaws occur helps demystify the coin-making process and highlights the importance of quality control and craftsmanship. Last, the 2005 D1-cent coin that, despite its humble origin as mere change, is now valued at an astonishing $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny that you could almost call priceless, and the reasons behind this astronomical value are as intriguing as the coin itself. Let's embark on this journey to uncover the incredible errors and mistakes that transformed an everyday coin into one of the most sought-after treasures in the world of coin collecting. The 2005 D1-cent is not your ordinary penny. It's a prime example of how minting errors can create an exceptional rarity that commands enormous value in the collector's market. Usually, pennies are worth their face value, but certain mistakes during the minting process can catapult these simple coins into realms of high worth. The 2005 D1-cent stands as a monument to such a phenomenon. But what exactly are these errors and mistakes that make this coin so incredibly valuable? Let's break down the details. The first thing to understand is the context of the coin's production. In 2005, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies, primarily at the Denver Mint, hence the D Mint mark on the coin. This was a routine year, with no special commemorative issues or changes planned for the penny's design. However, within this sea of ordinary pennies, a handful emerged bearing a series of significant anomalies that set them apart from every other coin minted that year. One of the most notable errors found on the 2005 D1 cent is the double die error, which occurs during the die creation process when the design is stamped twice in misaligned positions, creating a ghost-like doubling effect on the lettering and imagery. This particular penny exhibits a pronounced doubling on the date and the word Liberty, making the inscriptions appear thickened and somewhat blurry. This doubling is so distinct that it immediately catches the eye of collectors and numismatists, distinguishing the coin from the millions of flawless examples. The double die error itself is a rarity, but what makes the 2005 D penny's error particularly fascinating is the extent of the doubling and the fact that it escaped detection during quality control, leading to an estimated few thousand such coins entering circulation before the error was corrected. Another crucial error contributing to the coin's immense value is a striking off-center strike. In minting, the coin blanks, or planchets, are fed into the press and stamped precisely to ensure a centered design. However, with the 2005 D penny, some coins were struck off-center by significant margins, with portions of the design cut off, sometimes nearly half the coin's face missing the full impression. These off-center strikes create a dramatic visual impact that appeals immensely to error coin collectors. The combination of the double die and off-center strike on the same coin is exceptionally rare, making these particular pennies a sort of error within an error, further increasing their scarcity and value. Beyond these, there are subtle variations unique to the 2005 D penny that contribute to its mystique. For instance, a few coins show evidence of die cracks, tiny fractures in the metal die used to stamp the design, which appear as fine raised lines on the coin's surface. These cracks add a unique texture and character, turning each coin into a small piece of history that documents the physical wear and tear of the minting process itself. Moreover, some coins exhibit a misplaced mint mark or a repunched mint mark, where the D appears doubled or stamped in an uneven position. These mint mark errors are highly prized because they are even rarer than the double die or off-center strikes and give insight into the complexities of mint operations in 2005. Now, one might wonder how all these seemingly negative production errors translate into such a high market value. The answer lies in the basic economic principle of supply and demand coupled with the numismatic community's passion for rarity and unique characteristics. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that represent anomalies because they tell a story and offer a glimpse into an otherwise perfect manufacturing process that rarely falters. The 2005 D1 cent errors are especially valuable because they represent a perfect storm of multiple errors on a single coin, a rarity within a rarity. When these coins first surfaced, news spread quickly through collector forums, auctions, and numismatic clubs. Suddenly, the market was flooded with demand for these pennies as enthusiasts scrambled to find examples in their change or coin collections. Prices skyrocketed as supply remained limited to just a few thousand coins, many of which were held by collectors who recognized their worth immediately. Over the years, the 2005 D1 cent coins with these unique errors have been sold at auction for amounts ranging from tens of thousands to over $2 million, depending on the specific error combination, coin condition, and provenance. The most valuable examples have been those featuring both the double die and off-center strike along with a clear die crack and repunched mint mark, effectively making them a rare trifecta of minting mistakes. This intersection of errors not only creates a visually striking coin but also one with a proven scarcity that drives collectors to compete fiercely for ownership. Another factor amplifying the value is the cultural significance of the penny itself. As an iconic piece of American currency with a long history dating back to the late 18th century, pennies hold a nostalgic and symbolic place in society. The 2005 D penny, with its unique errors, bridges the gap between everyday currency and rare collectible, reminding us how chance occurrences in manufacturing can turn something ordinary into an extraordinary artifact. Additionally, these error coins have inspired countless stories and theories about how the errors happened, from machinery malfunctions and human oversight to shifts in the minting process caused by rapid production demands. The intrigue adds an extra layer of fascination for collectors who are not only investing in the coin's monetary value but also in the mystery and history behind its creation. The coin's value is further solidified by the fact that it has been authenticated and graded by professional numismatic organizations, which assess its condition and error status. Coins certified with high grades and verified errors fetch the highest prices, offering buyers confidence in their investment. The grading process scrutinizes every detail, from the clarity of the doubled die, the degree of the off-center strike, the prominence of die cracks, to the sharpness of the mint mark error, each aspect playing a role in determining the coin's final worth. Beyond individual collectors, the 2005 D1-cent errors have caught the attention of museums, historical societies, and even mainstream media, elevating the coin's profile and further validating its significance. Documentaries, articles, and collector shows have all contributed to spreading awareness, driving demand and prices even higher. The coin's story is a testament to how imperfections can become celebrated treasures, illustrating the unpredictable nature of collecting where the smallest detail can transform an object's destiny. To add an exciting angle, some experts speculate that there may still be undiscovered 2005 D1-cent error coins hidden in circulation, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to find and unlock their hidden value. This prospect keeps the market active, with collectors eagerly searching rolls of pennies and online auctions in hopes of striking gold, or rather, striking the perfect error penny. The allure of finding a multi-error coin like this, worth millions, fuels the passion for numismatics and keeps the legend of the 2005 D penny alive. In conclusion, the 2005 D1-cent coin's $2 million valuation is not just a number, it's a story of human error, chance, rarity, and the powerful appeal of unique collectibles. Its journey from an ordinary penny to a multimillion-dollar treasure highlights the fascinating interplay between minting mistakes and market dynamics. For those who love stories of rarity, history, and the thrill of discovery, the 2005 D1-cent stands as an iconic example of how something small and overlooked can hold immense value and captivate imaginations worldwide. So keep an eye on your spare change, you never know when you might be holding a piece of history worth millions. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into one of the most remarkable coins ever minted, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing tales from the world of collectibles.